Okay, now that we know that John Connor is playing Jesus Christ, what role is the Terminator playing? The Terminator represents the fallen angels. That's why they can shapeshift. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light.
Oh, I need a minute here. You're telling me that this thing can imitate anything it touches?
Anything it samples by physical contact.
Get real.
And another reason we know the Terminators are playing fallen angels is when Arnold Schwarzenegger was walking into the bar, they show us the pentagram, which signifies the fall of the morning star. And according to Manly P. Hall, in his book The Secret Teaching of All Ages, it says, the pentagram is used extensively in black magic, but when so used, its form always differs in one of three ways. The star may be broken at one point by not permitting the converging lines to touch. It may be inverted by having one point down and two up, or it may be distorted by having the points of varying lengths. When used in black magic, the pentagram is called the sign of the cloven hoof, or the footprint of the devil. The star with 2 points upward is also called the goat of Mendes, because the inverted star is the same shape as the goat's head. When the upright star turns and the upper point falls to the bottom, it signifies the fall of the morning star. Isaiah chapter 14 verse 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? Now if we go to the Strong Concordance, H1966, it shows us that Lucifer literally means the morning star. Exactly what Manly P. Hall was talking about. So who is the morning star? Satan and his hosts that fell from heaven. That's why whenever they make movies about aliens, they always show the pentagram.
How long you plan to be in town?
Oh, I'll be out of your hair as soon as I track down the scrolls that are infiltrating your planet.
Scrolls?
Shapeshifters. They can transform into any life form down to the DNA. Oh boy, you guys don't have any clue, do you?
They're coming!
I actually heard the aliens are already here. They've been hiding in this country for hundreds of years. It's a fact. They're shapeshifters. They look like regular people, but they're aliens.
After today's incident in the East Room, the White House is now advising all citizens to board up their homes and prepare for an alien invasion.
Page 19. By symbols, men have ever sought to communicate to each other those thoughts which transcend the limitations of language. Rejecting man-conceived dialects as inadequate and unworthy to perpetuate divine ideas, the mysteries thus chose symbolism as a far more ingenious and ideal method of preserving their transcendental knowledge. In a single figure, a symbol may both reveal and conceal, for to the wise the subject of the symbol is obvious, while to the ignorant the figure remains inscrutable.
I can't fight it if I don't know what we're up against.
It's a Rev 9 model. You don't fight it. You run from it.
So she's explained that this Terminator, this machine, is a Rev 9 model. What is a Rev 9? Rev 9 is just short for Revelations chapter 9. So she's saying this Terminator, this machine, this piece of technology is a Revelations chapter 9 model. So let's see in Revelations chapter 9 if there's some sort of foretelling to advanced technology. Revelation chapter 9 verse 1 through 3. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key to the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by the reason of the smoke of the pit. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power, as the scorpion of the earth hath power. And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment was the torment of a scorpion, when he striketh a man. And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. And the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle. And they had breastplates, as it were breastplates of iron. And the sound of the wings was as the sound of chariots, of many horses running to battle. And they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were stings in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 months. Page 166. The Apostle John described the vision God gave him as accurately as he could, using the most familiar terms of the times he lived in. We know that what John describes as locusts are not literally locusts, because literal locusts destroy green-grown things, as in Exodus chapter 10, verse 13 through 15. But John's locusts only hurts men, and do not hurt the green-growing things. In Revelation 9, verse 3, they are shaped like locusts or grasshoppers, a good description of the shape of modern attack helicopters. Verse 7, they look like horses prepared for battle, decked out with all kinds of battle equipment. Verse 9, they had armor plating and wings that sounded like many chariots pulled by horses running to battle, an excellent description of modern helicopter rotor blades. John says they have breastplates. Modern helicopters use boron, armor plating, which is stronger than steel and lighter than aluminum. Verse 10, they had upturned tails like scorpions, and their sting came out of their tails. A helicopter tail is upturned, and the chemical spray bar sticks out the rear. Verse 7, in the front where a locust's face would be, they had men's faces, and indeed, looking through a cockpit window, you can see the pilot's face. John said the men wore crowns of gold. This could easily be their helmets and visors. Verse 8, John described them as having long hair. The reference to long hair is in fact the wires which come out the helmets. Also in verse 8, teeth like lions. Many attack helicopters have teeth painted around the lower front of the fuselage. Also the racks of rockets look like teeth. Verse 4, the weapons John saw in Revelation chapter 9 do not hurt the environment in early stages of the battle, but only incapacitate men. Modern chemical weapons have developed to do exactly that, hurt the soldiers, but not the environment. We thought the world had banned chemical warfare after World War II and its horrible use of chemicals, but in 1988, Iraq, ancient Babylon of all places, used a type of chemical weapon that killed many of their own Kurdish people. Verse 5, the soldiers are incapacitated, but not killed. Modern military chemical weapons can do exactly the same thing, for they attack the nervous system exactly like a scorpion sting. Some modern chemical weapons are designed to kill, and others just to incapacitate the soldiers, preserving the local infrastructure. In verse 6, the soldiers John saw were incapacitated and wanted to die to escape the pain, but were physically unable to kill themselves. An incredible 2,000-year-old description of modern helicopter gunships and chemical weapons. John's description is astoundingly accurate.
It's a Rev 9 model. You don't fight it. You run from it.
So in this book we just read, The Islamic Antichrist, it's shown us that the Arabs will obtain the Revelation chapter 9 technology, the Rev 9 models, that will give them an edge in their pursuit for world domination. And they foreshadow this happening in the movie Iron Man.
The bow and arrow once was the pinnacle of weapons technology. It allowed the great Genghis Khan to rule from the Pacific to the Ukraine, an empire twice the size of Alexander the Great, and 4 times the size of the Roman Empire. But today, whoever holds the latest Stark weapons rules these lands. And soon, it'll be my turn.
Because now, it's going to be the Arabs' turn to rule. But first, they need the Revelation 9 technology. That's why this guy gave it to them. And his name in the movie is Obadiah, just like the biblical prophet Obadiah, who leveled a future prophecy about the coming destruction of Edom. So who is Edom? Genesis chapter 36 verse 8, thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. So who is Esau? Esau is the progenitor of the Arab peoples. So the prophet Obadiah leveled a future prophecy about the destruction of the Arabs. And in the movie Iron Man, Obadiah gave the Arabs the Stark technology to achieve world domination, which will ultimately be used against Christ when he returns. So let's go to the Zondervan Illustrated Bible Dictionary. In Obadiah 10:14, Edom is arraigned for his guilt in standing with the enemies of Israel in the time when Judah and Jerusalem were in deep distress. In verse 12-14, the prophet exhorts Edom to quit his evil association with the enemies of Jerusalem. In verse 15-16, the day of the Lord, that is, a day of awful judgment, is proclaimed as being near for all nations, and national annihilation is predicted for those people who fight against the Lord. They will be as if they have never been. To this point in Obadiah, the Lord has been addressing Edom in the second person singular, but in the closing paragraph, he speaks of a coming restoration of Israel when Zion will be holy and God would use Israel as a flame to destroy Esau. This is why the word says, "For Esau is the end of the world." So when Esau, the Arabs, Islam is the most dominant world power with the latest and greatest technology, that's when you know you're in the end game.
A new generation of weapons with this at its heart. Weapons that will help steer the world back on course, put the balance of power in our hands. The right hands